Hello my friends, I'm G Hondo and welcome back to our Let's Play of Aurora. This is episode 35. In episode 34, a couple things happened. First, we bumped up against the wall absolutely in terms of our biological research. There are no more negative temperature ones, nor are there any just increasing range ones. So I am going to um, design the last attempt at a new race, but I still don't think it's going to be quite sufficient in terms of cold. But we're going to try. But oxygen and gravity can both stay as they are. Human ice cube. That'll do. And sure, Psych Systems figured out how to do them. Awesome. So we'll go ahead and research that, but I don't, like I say, I don't think it's going to be quite cold enough. The other thing we did, which we actually spent most of the last episode doing, was designing a new PDC. That was the mighty Zulu. It's definitely an upgrade from the existing India. The existing India basically just had 5 simple little turrets. They weren't even quad turrets, just 5 basic lasers. And as far as I can tell, no way to actually detect missiles coming in, which was a little bit of an oversight. Whereas the mighty Zulu has 3 quad lasers at 15 centimeter, or excuse me, 25 centimeters instead of 15, so they do more damage, plus 3 quad meson cannons just for add backup. And it actually has a search sensor, so maybe it can actually even see one of these missiles that's going to be trying to shoot at. That would be awesome. I also gave it 10 units of armor. I'm not sure how many I gave the India, but I get the sense it's about the same. And I don't know if it'll actually tell me. 38 basic armor versus 300. Where's armor? I don't even see armor on here. I think I'm losing my mind. There it is, 53 armor. So definitely better in every way, shape, and form. The India used to only be 3 components that you'd have to build and then ship if you wanted to just build it on one planet and then send it somewhere else. This one's 17. So clearly, each planet that's going to be building one will either have to be shipped a ton of resources and just built on their own, or I'm going to have to start sending a lot of ships to carry all the pieces. But either way, that's something for another time. So let's see just how rough one of these is. Where is PDC? There it is. Okay, so this is 1,400 work to build. This is 10,000. And a lot of materials. A lot of materials. But that's okay. Let's go ahead and start building one on Earth. So even on Earth, with its massive construction, that would still take about a year. I can't even guess how slow that's going to be, on these fringe worlds with, basically zero production. Yikes. Anyway, I guess we'll deal with it when it happens. Do you actually have enough stuff? Looks like you do, so I could already start building the one on Le Mans, so we may as well do that. So we don't have to worry about it. I guess I'll just put this into the queue here at the other places, but I know they're not going to be getting to it anytime soon. In fact, there's no point then in having the India, is there? Because obviously Zulu will do the job much better. So there you go. Okay. Let's research our new type of people here, and then we'll see how we do. Yeah, we still have that really annoying not responding thing happening, but I think I'm probably stuck with that for the rest of the game, because from what I've been reading, it's basically just there's so much stuff going on every turn that it's just too much to process. So I suppose if I had a stronger computer, I probably could have gotten a bit further before this started happening, but apparently it's absolutely inevitable if you play long enough on any computer, so not much we can do about that. That's okay. Oh, I haven't checked on my mining in a while. How's that going? Oh, still a few years left. Okay. When that's done, and they've mass drivered it all the way, I'm going to pick up the mass drivers and take them over here to the other colony in Loiten, the one that used to be a civilian colony. I bought all this stuff, but they took their mass driver away. So it's just sitting there waiting for me. I'll get to it. And that'll be fine. And actually it'll be good because Loiten certainly needs more materials. So being able to ship them a bunch of stuff, it's not going to be everything they need, but it'll help. So that will be fine. How is, in the meantime, our gas pump doing? Okay, still has a long way to go. Okay, not a problem. Let's try ticking through time this way and see if that's any better. I doubt it will be, but we can try it. Thank you for bringing up the game's actual technical main menu, of no use to me. Thank you for that. Oh, research is done. Oh, both research is done. Fantastic. Okay, so here on... which one was it on? Which one did I have the... oops. One of these I had a genetic modification center. Now I don't remember where it is. Ah, here it is. Okay, so it's on Lumon. Okay. So you can see I've tried a few times here. So their ideal temperature range, or available temperature range, has gotten better and better. Yeah, that extra 5 degrees is probably not going to do it, but we will try. That's all we can do. I think they wanted 11 infrastructure, if I recall correctly, per million. Let's see how these guys do. It's probably going to be about the same, so I don't think it's really changed that much, but 5 degrees is really not... well, that brought it down to 4. Oh, so if I had 5 more degrees, I could have had it. Wow, that's harsh. Okay, well, so be it. Let's put in a request for infrastructure, I guess. I don't know how much do I have here? Okay, they are using all that they have there. You have 2 infrastructure that you don't need anymore, so you may as well supply that. 2 infrastructure to here. That'll give them about 500,000 people's worth of room. Oh, don't want to click yet. I haven't assigned new research. Almost missed that. Yeah, that's really a shame. Just a tiny, tiny bit. I'm going to try researching some of the rest of these, just in case maybe you're just not allowed to go so far in one direction without going in the other. I don't think it's set up like that, but I'm going to try it just in case. I mean, in some ways it would make sense for it to be like that, but in most ways it would just be upsetting. But I'm going to try it, because it just bothers me to get that close but not be able to do it, just because of an arbitrary limit set by the game. Okay, so base temperature up didn't help. Or at least not from the first one. We'll do one more. I'm really hoping that sorts it, but I'm getting the distinct sense that I'm not really accomplishing anything here, but who knows. Because I don't think I can even set the temperature even. Yeah, because the greenhouse is maxed out, so I cannot push that up any higher. Well, let me think about this, because I only need to squeeze a tiny, tiny bit. So the surface temperature, base temperature in Kelvin, that's never going to change. That's basic. Greenhouse I've maxed out, and albedo I don't think I can modify. So the only thing I could do would be greenhouse, but max is 3, even if I start playing around just with the pressure. So no, I don't think I'm going to be able to do anything here. and adjusting their oxygen or temperature or excuse me, gravity ranges isn't really going to help either. So that's a shame. All right, so still nothing there. Out of desperation, I'll try oxygen, but I really don't think that this is going to have any real impact. That is pretty sad, though. There's just that arbitrary limit, and it's so close too. Oh well. I guess the other thing I may want to do at some point is, try and build a species that can support really high temperatures, because then I could go to a planet like, say, Mercury or Venus. Because of course they have much, much higher temperatures. I want to bring up this map of Sol here. Because obviously these will be much, much higher temperature. Okay, so Mercury has nothing, but Venus has a huge, huge pile of stuff. It's all very hard to get at, but it has tons of stuff. So I kind of want to actually build a colony there. The main problem, of course, is that the basic temperature on the surface is 400 degrees. That's a little bit steamy. You probably won't wear shorts. Anyway, although the gravity's fine. Okay, that, and then it's going to take a lot of terraforming just to get rid of this all this nitrogen and carbon dioxide, just because the pressure's up to 25 there, which is craziness. But I think it might not be a terrible plan. I think actually we'll try and do that. So I'm going to continue researching the biology tree, only this time I'm going up. I'm going to see how hot I can get a people's tolerance. I don't have to do their oxygen or gravity because the gravity is about normal. And then, yeah, I think I'm going to plunk a colony on Venus. I think that should be good. In the meantime, how our ships are doing 4 more years. Okay. I think that'll be really nice. Did the civilians bring you infrastructure like I asked? Yes, they did. Well, one of them. That's fine. Oh, they did that on their own. They didn't even do the 2 I asked them to do. They just brought one on their own. Okay. I don't pretend to understand, but that's okay. That's fine. Yeah, I've got mines going. Now, the other thing I'm going to have to figure out is how to transfer. Because right now it thinks this is a completely different place. Like it's a different colony, even though it's on the same moon. So I don't know how, but somehow I have to figure out how to get all the, like the mass drive or all these factories. I guess I could just send a really big cargo ship and just tell it to just push everything over. That sounds like an off-camera job though, because that's going to be a lot of work. But I think that's what all it will take. I think so. And technically the planetary governor should apply to that too, because this is, the same guy, but anyway. That's fine. Again, I'll deal with that off-camera afterwards, no big deal. For now, let's continue researching our future Venetians, or Venusians, or what would even that be? Venuvians? I don't know. People that can take it very hot anyway. I'm sure they'll come up with their own name for themselves when they rebel against me. Yeah, I don't really need to do any of the rest of these. So I guess I can use those labs to work on something else. Maybe more mining or research, although that is brutal. Absolutely brutal. Or maybe fuel production. That'll speed the gas pump up a bit. Tiny bit, but considering how many years it has to sit out there, I guess every little bit will help. Looks like both of these will be finishing at about the same time as well, which is nice. Good stuff. And yep, more temperature up. And then the other labs can just work on something generally useful. Say... Actually, I do want to know where absorption shields are. I just don't know if that's something I have to like get technology from somewhere, like off an alien or something to get, or if I just have to research one of these far enough to get that. Because when I was designing it, it mentioned it, but I have not seen it anywhere in here. So I'm not sure about that. If anyone watching has played this game far enough to get to that point, please leave me a comment letting me know, because I have absolutely no idea. In the meantime, let's find something generally useful to research. I could do orbital habitat modules. They basically just store population to be used as workers. That might help. Yeah, I guess it's something we should at least know how to have, even if we don't use them immediately. We should at least know how to make them. And construction brigades, because they count as a factory, so maybe that's something else I can do when I'm first putting down a colony is, instead of worrying about trying to ship factories over, I could just ship over construction brigades. Let them count as factories for a little while. That might work as well. So many options in this game. It's probably why I like it so much. I liked it a lot better when I could click the button and the turn would finish almost instantly, but that's okay. That's okay. I am a patient fellow most of the time. Wait, sort of. Anyway, what finished? It wasn't our biology, so it's just a general useful one. Anything else here critical? Not really. I think I need to have a ship. I think I have to have a tractor beam to haul orbital modules. I think they're big enough they count as small ships. So I don't think I can just plunk them into a cargo bay of a ship unless it's like absolutely ridiculous size. So let's learn the tractor beam just in case. Can't be a bad thing to have anyway, I suppose. Let's try. And what is the mining going to be finished? What is? How about when is? Let's pick the right W. 3 years and some change, so late 199. Okay. So now I know when to go back to look at that, and I can ignore it up until we get there and just concentrate on more research. I am so tempted to get another drive increase, but that is just a ridiculous amount. You know what I am going to do though? I am going to research the research rate. It's going to take ages, but it'll help everything else after it forever, so it's going to take them like 20 years to do it, but that's fine. Well, granted, once the brigade is done, I guess I can push some of them over, but still. It's still going to take a very, very long time. But, like I say, it will be useful, so I don't mind doing stuff like that. Okay, why are we doing this close the window thing again? That is so annoying. Yes, I know you finished them, but you didn't have to close the window to tell me. Anyway, okay. It's all fine. It's all fine. At some point I will have to research this just because it'll bother my OCD, but that's pretty low priority. But I will have to do it because it will bug me. Got this got up to 60%. So he's going to be flying through this stuff. It's pretty good. Did have one earlier in the power field that got to 65, which is the highest I've ever seen. But this 60 is not bad either. We're just flying through the time as best we can here. despite the slowness. I should keep refreshing this every once in a while, because I need to see if at any point the civilians put down another colony. And if so, I need to be telling them to buy the minerals right away, otherwise they're wasted. Because I certainly don't need the tax on it. Wealth is not even remotely an issue at this point. I would much rather have the materials. Speaking of materials, I wonder if I should build a few more digging ships. Because clearly the mass driver is having no trouble keeping up. I think I'm going to. At least a couple more. I think that would be helpful. That'll speed up everything we do later as well, so that can't be a bad thing. September of 97. So I think that'll be done before this ship is. Come on, don't do this. Thank you. Yeah, definitely will be. Okay. Almost there. And then that, I think that was the second last temperature one, I think. I think there's just one more. Or maybe that was the last one. Okay, excellent. I have to do this just for OCD, so I'm sorry to anyone who doesn't have OCD and considers this one an absolute waste. You are completely correct. It is an absolute waste, but it will drive me bonkers. So I have to. Okay, there we go. Alright, so I can ignore that field completely now. I can't imagine researching this much gravity or oxygen change. I can't see a point. So as far as I'm concerned, while it's technically not anywhere near actually done, I'm considering the biology field done. In terms of this, I'm probably better off just to dump all these extra labs here, try and get this research improvement done sooner. There, now it's only 7 years out. That's not bad at all. And maybe start working on maybe better shipbuilding? Sure, better shipbuilding. That sounds fine. Let's go with that. Speaking of shipbuilding, let's keep an eye on that. When this one's done, I'll build one more, and I think that should be pretty good for now. I'm not sure if we'll actually finish it this episode, but because we're getting pretty close to time control, but do what we can. Come on, there we go. Yeah, the turns are definitely getting slower and slower and slower. There, that should finish that. Let's queue up the next one. I'll get this guy going. It will be a task group 1 right now. Oh, interesting. So at some point, I built one, but didn't actually use it. Okay, I'm thinking of a 2-word phrase. Both words are 4 letters. They both have an I in the 3rd position. Does anyone else know what phrase I'm thinking of? Wow. Okay. Okie dokie. Anyway, for those of you who haven't kept up with my riddle, the phrase I was thinking of is, of course, epic fail, because that's really the only way to describe that. Anyway. That's, yeah, not so good. Alright, well, let's get those two going that way. Wow. I cannot be certain, but I think that might have been just the stupidest thing I've done in a very long time. Anyway. Well, it seems to be able to keep up at the 1 hour tick nicely enough without popping into not responding mode, so. Having said that, that is achingly slow, so I'm not sure that's really that useful. Let's try 8 hour ticks. That should be a lot better. It's still keeping up pretty well. Okay. Right until, of course, it gets to an actual construction tick, but anyway. Alright, so I think we're at a point where I'm going to put a cut in the episode. In between this episode and next, I'm going to do a couple of cleanup type things that are slow and boring, so I won't keep you attached to the camera for that. But I'll just go over real quick what I'm planning on doing. The biggest one is I'm going to get a cargo ship over to Le Mans and start transferring all of the stuff from the main human settlement to the ice cube settlement, because this is going to be the permanent one. Obviously, I'd much rather have a colony that takes 4 infrastructure than 440. So the only thing that's going to be left on here, by the time I'm done, is the genetic converter, until eventually I can just abandon this when the vast majority of the planet's done, and I'll just abandon it. But at that point, all that stuff will be here. Let's see what else I'll do. I'll get the other ship finished and sent over to Swift Tuttle, so they'll be all set there. And I will build the new race, and I'll get Venus started. It was Venus, right? Not Mercury I was doing? I was pretty sure it was Venus. Yeah, Venus. But I mean, that part you've seen me do before. That's just designing the race. Only this time I'll design it for heat instead of for cold. Then obviously I'll have to ship over the terraforming fleet, which I think is still just sitting... Where did I leave it? Ah, here. I'll just ship them over, and they can start not even trying to cool the planet, just trying to get the temperature back down. Because right now it's ridiculous. Or excuse me, not the temperature, the atmosphere. It's 25 atmospheres thick, and humans can only tolerate up to 3. So that's the stuff I'm going to take care of between this episode and the next. So thank you to everyone for watching, and until next time, stay calm, and I hope you'll come and chill with me again in the next video. Thanks for watching.